Welcome to a look on the plus side. Happy Wednesday night. I'm your host, Rob Whiteside. Thank you guys so much for finding us over here on our new channel, the Park Adventurers Club. If you have not already, please subscribe. That'll help us out a lot, and also give this video a thumbs up, as it will help people to find us. And if you have not already, please, hang on to the end, and we'll tell you a little bit about how you can support this channel. So, I think our friend Maleko is with us. How are you, sir? I think I might hear audio from YouTube. You got that going on there?
Yeah, I think I muted it for you. Hey, how you doing, Rob? It's great to be with you again, and congratulations on the new channel. This place looks amazing. I can't wait to fill this with all of our DVDs and Blu-rays.
Yeah, speaking of amazing, look at this background. Look at you. Like, wow. Look, you're actually in Moana 2. That's fantastic.
I'm surfing waves.
You have done, my friend, several reviews with me. I appreciate it every time you come on. The very first time, and for those of you who have not heard the story, I've told it every time you've come on. The very first time I reached out to you, you were like, you want me to do Lilo and Stitch, don't you? And I was like, I wasn't going to ask, but if you're volunteering, I mean, we went all out. We had the Aloha shirts on. It was a whole thing. Mm-hmm. You came back and did Moana, and then you were like, let's do Mary Poppins. And then you got into this whole, like, animal thing, and we did, like, Oliver and Company and Cat from Outer Space and all that. So I appreciate you coming back and revisiting Moana 2 with me. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight. Are you excited about Moana 2?
I am. It's great to be back with Plus Ohana and to talk about the movie. You actually, when you invited me to come on the channel and to talk about this, it gave me the excuse to finally sit down and watch the film. I had it on my watch list for a while, and I'm glad I did, because I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to talk about it and dive into it.
Well, not too many spoilers. You got to wait till the end to tell us if you would recommend it. But I'm a little surprised that it's not, that it wasn't the first thing that you jumped to, as much as you were excited about the first one. So again, Moana 2 is the one we're talking about tonight. It was very divisive at the box office. A lot of people liked it, and a lot of people hated it. So, as we get into that, maybe we can kind of dig in a little bit and figure that out. This movie is an hour and 40 minutes, and it is Disney's 63rd full-length animated feature. And then it was in theaters on November 27th, and then it finally dropped March 12th. On Disney Plus for us to be able to talk about. So, you know what? If you want to get through it, you got to Chihu it. That's what we're gonna do here. We're gonna Chihu it. It's a thing. The budget for this one was $150 million, and I feel like it was just for that one song. I'm sorry. I'm getting started too early on that. That's a thing. Yeah.
That's an hour into the movie. Yeah.
but it was a huge success at the box office. It was the #1 movie of 2024. It made over $1 billion at the box office, outdoing Moana 1. Worldwide, animated wise, for Disney full-length animated features, it's third after Frozen 1 and 2. So, I mean, a lot of people really kind of grabbed onto this one. But the thing that I loved about the first one, if we could talk about that for a second, is the music. And that one, when I left the theater, the music came with me. I couldn't get it out of my head. Same thing as Frozen. Lin-Manuel Miranda wrote the music for the first one. Did you find yourself in the first one in that same situation? And how do you feel about this one as far as music goes?
I don't know the source of the debate over whether or not this movie was as much of a hit as the first one, but I will tell you that I found that there were less songs in this movie that I was inclined to sing along with than there were in the first movie. But on the other hand, there were a couple of songs that I thought had a little jazzy kind of blues note feel to it, and I actually did kind of like some of the songs more in this movie. So as we go through and talk about the songs, I'll kind of point them out, because I do think there were a couple of songs, at least 2 songs, that were better in this movie, or ones that I really liked more than the first movie. But overall, yeah, I kind of understand. As a sing-along, maybe not so much.
Hot take, my friend. I love it. Yes, we'll get to the music. So, did you know, and you may not have known this, and I think a lot of people who are watching probably did know, that Moana 2 was originally supposed to be Moana the series. It was supposed to be on, yeah. So you didn't know.
I didn't know, but I mean, looking at what they did with Stitch, that's a Disney move for sure.
Right.
I wouldn't have been surprised.
That is a quotable line. That's a Disney move for sure. I love that, man. We're gonna latch onto that one hard. But it was supposed to be a series, and Disney, when Disney Plus came out, one of the first like big kind of meetings that they had afterwards, they rolled out all these series they were going to be doing, and one of them was absolutely they were going to do a Moana TV series for Disney Plus. They were going to do a Tiana series. That one's been canceled. And then Bob Iger kind of shocked everybody by announcing Moana 2 coming to theaters, and they took what they had already begun to build as a series and made it into a movie. And as I'm watching it and knowing that, I'm surprised at the quality of movie that we ended up getting, because I think the animation is better than the animation that we saw before. That's usually not the case when they take a movie like Emperor's New Groove and they make Emperor's New School, and the animation is definitely not of the same caliber. But I think the animation was very cinematic, and the directors said it kind of begged for a bigger screen. Now, I think that's their way of saying it was going to make more money if we released in the theater. I think that's really what they wanted to say. But they said it gave them a chance to like dig deeper into the character development. And there certainly were many more characters in this one. I don't know if you're a Batman fan, but every Batman movie from the Michael Keaton series, the next one, like they like doubled down on how many villains, and then the next one they doubled down again. And so I feel like when you have a new movie, a sequel, you got to add more characters. Do you think there were too many new characters, or do you think it was like added to the fun?
Well, she takes a crew with her in this
Yeah.
movie, and so you're automatically introduced to characters. And I have to be honest, I don't remember their names as much. They were just kind of extras. They made comic relief at certain points throughout the voyage. But I don't think I became attached to any particular character. There's a few moments on her voyage where some of the crew gets lost or falls off the boat, and Moana freaks out and starts to worry. And there's one particular scene where she is looking for, I think his name is Moni. Is that his name? Moni. And she's shouting for Moni. He's fallen off the boat, and Maui has gone with him. And at first, I thought she said Maui. And I thought, oh my gosh, she's worried about Maui. She's worried about Maui. And then, of course, Moni shows up. And I'm like, oh, that guy. And so, to answer your question, are there too many characters? Maybe. Maybe for my small brain. Too many for me to remember.
You know what though? I mean,
give me a third version and I'll figure it out.
you gonna have to double down again. If it was like Hank and Tom and Steve, I might actually have had a little bit of an easier time following around. But like Moana and Maui and Moni and Lotto and Kele and Samia and Sina and like
Nalu.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
and Hey Hey, you can't forget Hey Hey. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there were a lot
Boat
of
snack.
boat snack and boat snack upgrade. They changed that. I don't know if you noticed that either. In the original trailer, he gets on the boat and he picks up Hey Hey and goes boat snack, and then he picks up Pua and goes boat snack upgrade, and they saved it to the end, and it's a completely different thing. So obviously changes happen. So returning for this one, we have her dad, Chief Tui. We have Maui. We have Moana, obviously, and then Hey Hey is back. Tamatoa makes a cameo in the end credits. Did you wait for the end credits
Yeah.
to see him? Okay.
Of course I did. I'm conditioned to wait for end credit
Yep.
scenes, and I'm glad
Yep.
I did.
And we'll get into the to the cast in a little bit. So this movie sets her up. The first movie sets her up where she's looking back to the past. She's rebuilding the ways of her ancestors. In this one, she's looking to the future to take on what's next. And then also we've been given the idea that this is going to be at least part of a trilogy now at this point, because there's so many sort of cliffhangers and lead-ins to there's another one coming. So to my knowledge, it's not on paper. I don't think anybody's given a release date or anything like that yet. But like a Moana 3 should definitely be in the works. So when it opens up, she's running through the woods, and she climbs to the top of the hill, and we don't really know what she's doing. She's calling out to somebody, but we still don't have any context. Do you realize at this point that it's 3 years past the last movie? I'm not sure they're clear on that.
You know, at some point, I figured it out when she comes back with the artifact to the island. That's when I realized that she had been going on wayfinding adventures for a while. I didn't get the number 3, but it took me a minute to figure out where we were from when she's standing on top of the mountain with the conch, and then she gets back to the village with the artifact. At that point, I realized, oh, okay, so she's been looking for other islands for some time now. But yeah, I guess. And did they animate her a little older? I feel like they might have.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she
No,
felt like she was older.
yeah, everyone's a little bit older in this one. So yeah, they've moved mom and dad and Pua, and Hey looks as sharp as ever. But I think that the rest of them, and then she has a little sister, Samia, which she didn't have in the first one. So
Right.
that's a dynamic that I think I could have done without. I mean
The
now
sister?
here, yeah, but here's the only thing where it comes in handy is that through her exposition with her sister of explaining why she needs to go away, she's telling us, the audience, hey, so there used to be this island, and it was like the center of everything, and it was how we got together with all the other people of Oceania, and we need to do that again. And that's what we're out there doing, is we're trying to find our, everyone else. Like, we've been out here sailing around looking, calling with the shells, trying to find people, and we haven't been able to find them. And so that's what she's explaining to her, is why she has to leave. And then we have a different like situation where, then we see Maui, and he's explaining, where he is and why he's there with Nalo, and what Nalo did to make it so that all the people were separated. Doesn't really say really do a great job of why, but I mean, they did say this is what happened, is Nalo put this curse on this island, sunk it to the bottom of the sea, and made it so that all of the people are now separated and lost. And so we're learning that through this context, but it happens rapid fire. Like within the first 13 minutes, it's like you have to digest a lot of information to understand what's happening in the next hour and 20 minutes, I feel like.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of catching up to do. Certainly a lot of dialogue explanation. I
Yeah.
agree. One of my least favorite movie tropes is when they have to explain it all in dialogue. But if they didn't, I'd have been completely lost here. So.
Yeah, no, I agree. So then they, with Maui being trapped and Moana explaining what she's doing, they make her this new position, which again, just as much as the words in this thing, I'm like, what is it? Tao Tai. Now, is that a thing? Like, I don't expect you to know that, because I feel like they made a bunch of this stuff up.
Yeah, I'd never heard it before.
Yeah.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm sure it's a
So
thing somewhere, maybe.
so basically what they're saying to her, or what her dad says to her, is like, you need to take on this position of the Tao Tai, and that's, you're going to be the lead, wayfinder to find all of the, the next thing. So she's been given this new mission, and then they sit down and they make her drink a bowl of something that gets her tripping. Obviously, like, she's like, I mean, it feels like something from,
that they squeezed out of a mop rag. By the way, it's like,
well, and they
I
wipe the
wasn't sure
bowl.
what was they wiped, like they looked like they were going to do some house cleaning, and then they serve it to her, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, here we go.
Yeah,
Fresh
well,
bowl
and
of
they give the chief the bowl, and he
bleached.
pours a little out, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, it's just a ceremonial thing, and then there's the drink, and
It's
it's
for
like,
the
oh, okay,
homies. Yeah.
absolutely. So then, like, she's like tripping, and she like sees her ancestor in this vision, and then the place catches fire with lightning, and then there's a thing in the sky and fire in the sky, and we've got to go chase that thing, and that all happens again very fast to get through this thing. Especially if this was supposed to have been a series, I assume it would have been, say, 8 episodes, 30 minutes each, and this thing is contained down into an hour and 40 minutes. So I feel like they probably rushed us a little bit through that. But I just felt like there was a lot going on. And
Uh,
if you're not absolutely paying attention, which is the difference between seeing it in theater and sitting on your couch and watching it, is if you're sitting on your couch and Leo's walking across your lap and you've got your phone in your hand and you're playing Wordle and you may miss something, and go, wait a minute, why is this happening? Why is that lady a bat lady? What's
this
yeah.
is, I had to do that a bunch of times. Who watches focused on a film? I'm doing other things. I'm, looking at my Instagram, and a couple of times I had to rewind. I was like, wait a minute, wait, where did they get there? And who is this lady? I still actually am not entirely sure who she is.
Uh,
I was hoping you'd explain.
she's the bat lady, yeah. The
Yeah.
animation, though, let's talk about the animation because I feel like, and part of me is like, this is next level animation.
Hmm.
It's really good. Like if you look back, and we did a review recently on that other show of Snow White, which again, the original, the OG, the 1937. But when you look at the animation from this, it is so amazing. Every blade of grass, every wave in the ocean, every like flick of the hair is just amazing. And I think this one goes beyond what the first movie did. But then I have to remember like movies like Avatar, where like it not only is it animated, but it looks real. And they're not trying to make it look real here. They're trying to make it look like a cartoon, but it just looks so beautiful. Like, Hey Hey's colors really pop. Her, like the sky, the wind in her hair. Like this is next level, it feels
That
like.
sky right there is so. I was talking to my wife when I was watching it, and I was looking at that sky, and that's the same sunset we get here in Hawaii. It's this spectacular sherbet sky, I call it. And when they animated that, I thought it was fantastic. That's one of my favorite pieces of the film right there is when you see that sky because that's very realistic.
Yeah, it again, the animation looks amazing, and not only did they do it justice with aging it, as opposed to like say an episode of Family Guy or The Simpsons, where each episode they look exactly the same. They took
Hmm.
into account, hey, this was 3 years in passing, and they explained that not only with how much more confident she is, how much more revered she is, but that she's got this new mission and the new thing that she's working on. But again, just let me just pause on this one right here because I remember hearing, I think it was Floyd Norman, if I'm mistaken here, but talking about Sleeping Beauty, and we did a review of Sleeping Beauty, and talking about how like anywhere in Sleeping Beauty you could pause it, and you could make a print of it and put it on your wall, and it was sheer art. And when I look at this scene in particular, I'm just like, the shadows and the light and the leaves and just the detail and like Pua and Hey Hey looking up, and yeah, just I mean it just seems next level, and they did it justice by aging her and her family 3 years later. I don't know how long pigs and chickens live, but they're looking not too bad for 3 years later.
Clearly, they're pets because that would have easily been a nice meal. I know Maui would have loved to have had either one of them
A, a,
three
a
years ago,
boat a boat snack.
or an upgraded boat snack. Yeah.
Um, but again, the animation I feel like is kind of next level. There's a bit where she's then like running back to the boat because she's excited about
Hmm.
this thing, and she steps in the water, and we see her logo right there. Like we
Hmm.
kind of see that, and I feel like she's got really a lot of good branding going on here because we see it a couple times. We see it when her ancestors save her at the end. We see it here. We see it on the mast. They do a good job of all that kind of stuff. But it's really just, again, from an animation standpoint, I think next level. I don't think you can argue that. You could absolutely argue maybe there's too much story, maybe there are too many characters, maybe the music is different, but I don't think you can really sort of touch the idea of the animation and like again how cinematic this whole thing is. And that's why I'm looking at it going, you were going to put this on Disney Plus as a series. They do higher quality now, but it is movie theater quality money that they spend, and they only spent 150 million on it too, though, which I start to think about again, and I think about the fact that like movies like Frozen, movies like, oh my god, I don't even know how much Avengers Doomsday going to cost, like what, 500 million, something like that. It's crazy to think that they could do this and make $1 billion. So
No, I agree with you on that. And the branding part of it was something I noticed, marketing guy, and I'm throughout the movie, and I'm like, I wonder if they're doing that intentionally just to brand the marketing, or if that's for kids to subliminally know that the spiral, which is now being dropped into the chat, and I'm going to have to copy that because I don't know how they found that. Where did you find that awesome emoji? Uh, that one is now part of my personal collection.
the
Actually,
chat
thank you.
leading the conversation with the
It's,
swirls.
that's it.
Yeah.
Fun.
William said Avengers Doomsday is just going to be Robert Downey Jr. in all the roles, which let's do it.
I,
Let's
I
bring it
I
on.
might go
I
back
mean,
to the theaters for that. Yeah.
yeah. When was what was just let's time out. Now I'm curious. What was the last theater movie you saw in the theater that you guys got gussied up, had date night, went out to the movie theater and saw? Because please tell me it wasn't before COVID.
No, it was just a few weeks ago. It was a scary movie. It was terrible. Let me see what movie it was. I actually have the ticket here in my
You went and saw a
wallet.
movie and you don't even remember the name of it. I love
No,
that.
it was the one with the monkey that just came out. Shoot, give me a second. I'll find it. Anyway, we went to the movies, and I was amazed because our movie theater charged us $35 a ticket
What?
to see the film. $35 a ticket. And then we went to the concession stand. We got some popcorn, some drinks, and that was another $50. And so by the time we left the movies, we were in over $100, just the film. And I was like, this didn't seem worth it to me. And so, and I don't want to be an old man complaining about movie prices, but
Back in my
but
day,
here I am. But, back in my day,
you could
we
get
had
some
cheaper
Juji
tickets.
fruits, some bit of honey.
Actually, the movie was called The Monkey. So there
There you
it
go.
is. Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, it was expensive. It was expensive. I mean, they're nice. They're reclining seats, but they're not like. I mean, we went to a movie theater in California where they had buttons to call for service. We don't even have that yet in Hawaii. You still have to get up and go get your popcorn from the stand.
Yeah. Well, I saw this in the theater at the Alamo, I believe, theater, and Alamo is in several cities, not too many, and it's that exactly thing you're saying. You sit down at what looks like a school desk in a reclining chair, and you write your order on it, and you put it in the front, and you hit the button, and they come and they bring you food. Now it's not cheap, but I feel like with the movie tickets for two of us and the dinner, a nice good dinner, we could probably get out of there for less than you're spending out there. I don't know where. You must have that, like, I don't know, you got that big money. You're out, like, in the Beverly Hills of Hawaii at $35 a ticket. I've literally never heard of that, so.
It was pretty bad.
Wow.
I was like I said, I was pretty surprised. Okay, my wife is correcting me. She was saying, "Excuse me, it was $25 a ticket," but I think I paid ticket fees, so it might be somewhere in there.
Okay, all right. Enough about that then. Well, it's a good thing then you saw Moana 2
On
on
Disney Plus,
Disney
yeah,
Plus. Yeah, we thought those
I
prices
was
were going
glad
up,
for
and
that.
maybe it's not too high. So again, Moana drinks this magic juice. She has her vision about the fire in the sky. And the second song comes up. So I kind of skipped over the first song, but the second song comes up called Beyond, which feels like the How Far I'll Go for this movie. Because it
It
comes
wanted to
back.
be. It wanted to be. But I can still sing several verses of How Far We'll Go. And the song you just mentioned, I forgot the title already. So no, I mean,
Beyond.
yes, it's the theme song of this movie, but by no means is it something that carries on with you after the film.
I'm so glad we're recording this because I'm going to soundbite all of these things that you were saying. It wanted to be that. It wanted to be. Disney
Yeah.
does what they do. Yeah, yeah. So the first one was called, like, I think We're Back, and then the next one was Beyond, and then there's the What Could Be Better Than This, which felt so forced. That's the one where they're on the ship and they're doing
Yeah.
the singing back and forth, and like, what could be better than this? And I thought, man, this is the worst. And then came Can I Get a Chi-Hoo?
Yeah. which, which I thought the Rock sang a little bit in the film. I sang more probably in the first movie, but he chanted that song. You know, the Chi Who, can I get a Chi Who? It was mostly him just talking it. So I
Well,
was, I don't know. I mean, he's got a good singing voice, mostly. You know, I mean, considering he's The Rock.
yeah.
But
Well, I
like "You're
mean,
Welcome," you know, that's a song that I'll still sing to people just for fun. You know, "You're welcome," and there was none of that in this.
that's what
So
I'm saying is that I feel like, and I've said this before in other reviews, that a lot of difference is made in a Disney movie, especially if you are attached to the music. In Kanto, if you're attached to the music, you sing it, then you like the movie more. Strange World didn't have music. Atlantis didn't have music, and Home on the Range. Like, there's so many of these movies that people like either they didn't like it or it didn't stick with them or what, and then none of them had that music. Well, Home on the Range had a little bit of music in it, but mostly I feel like it's the music that you attach yourself to with some of these movies that make it better. Coco and Kanto, these things that you sing along later that they have at the parades and projections on the castles and all that kind of stuff. It's because of the music and how it hits you. The same thing with Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Lion King. It's the music that you take with you. And so for the first one, I think the music hit. I think for the second one, it didn't feel like it did. And obviously, the first one had Lin-Manuel Miranda. So let's get into the music a little bit and the fact that the first one, I remember people going, he rhymed shiny with Heine. Like, how could he have done this? How could he have let us down, Mr. Hamilton, Mr. In the Heights? How could he have been so lazy? And yet now with this one, people are like, could you please bring him back? He was busy at the time doing the music for Mufasa, the Lion King, which, by the way, I think there are some bangers in that movie. I feel like, but I mean, I'm not running back to watch it again, but I feel like that there were some good songs in that movie. So this one, though, I didn't really feel like it took any home with me, like I took any of them home with me. I didn't have the same like anger that I feel like my family did, but my son, first of all, hated the Chihu thing from the first movie. So imagine how excited he was when there was a whole song about it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, by the way, the Chihu thing is very real in Hawaii, and it's our version of heck yeah. And people will do it at concerts. People will do it in movie theaters. People will do it, you know, when they're just excited on the Fourth of July. Or on New Year's Eve, you'll get chihus all over the valley. So it's a real thing. It's just too bad that none of it translates into a song very well.
During the Minecraft movie, instead of throwing popcorn, they just yelled
Right?
"Chihu."
That's what
No
they're
wonder
doing
it's
in
$35
Hawaii.
to get in, man. That's a show. That's a show. I honestly I did not know that. And so, like, just tell me, in the past week, how many times outside of watching this movie have you chihued? How many, just off the top of your head?
Uh, Twice?
Interesting. Over
Twice?
what?
Yeah. There was some good news in a meeting earlier this week. It wasn't a full chihu. It was more of a chew. You know, it wasn't a
I
belly
freaking love
belly
that.
who.
That is awesome. And so I apologize that they did this to that. I'm so
I
sorry.
blame the
They
rock.
I'm so sorry they took blame the rock. I'm so sorry they took that away from you. That is so wow.
It's the chant of my people, Rob. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, you're gonna have to. Hopefully, it will outlive this, and it will not become the was up of a generation.
Yeah.
So yeah, who knows? Who knows what'll happen? But anyway, that the music again was very different in this one. It was written by two women, and I'm looking for their names again. It is Barlow and Bear. So it's Abigail Barlow and Emily Bear were the two. They apparently wrote the unofficial Bridgerton musical. And so
Oh,
then they were like, well, you would be perfect for
well, that
this.
qualifies them. Yeah.
Yeah,
There you
you'd
go.
be perfect for a full-length Disney animated feature. I always have to kind of take it with a grain of salt and go, is it just me? Is it just because I loved the first one so much? Maybe like, the 8-year-old that went and saw Moana doesn't like the new music, but the new 8-year-old who goes and sees Moana 2 for the first time might. But I mean, since when is Disney for kids? I mean, it's for us, right? So this is an insult uh, to us as Disney adults. How dare they? But Barlow and Bear were the two that wrote the music, and apparently Lin wasn't even asked because of his work that he was doing on Mufasa. I think the development started during Encanto when he was doing that, so he's been working on that. He did some music for the live-action Little Mermaid with Alan Menken, and he did the Mufasa stuff. So he's been busy. He's been busy with the Disney machine, but he didn't seem to. They didn't want to tap him for a movie that was known for music that he wrote.
I feel like Jermaine could have written a song or two. You
Jermaine,
know, a fan of his Flight of the Conchord stuff. You know, he has a character in the film. He could have written something for Tamatoa. In fact, at the end, Tamatoa actually, you know, no spoilers, but I'll tell you, he gives a hint that there may be a song that didn't appear in the film that I definitely want to hear about. But yeah, I don't know. I felt like they could have given him a bone there.
The crab leg song, yeah, that would have been interesting.
Yeah, he said jazzy crab legs or boogie crab legs. I don't know, something like that.
Something perfectly amazing. But yeah, I think overall the music felt like it was a disappointment because I feel like that drove so much of it drives the feeling of the movie a lot of times too. You get those Disney, like the chills when they hit the high notes at the right time and the kind of breaking out. They went back to a couple of songs from the original for like when she introduces Samea to the ocean. You know, you hear a little bit of that, you know, the travel the world to find you, or travel the ocean to find you song, and then you also hear the I think the Away Away song at the end when we're wrapping it up. So I was surprised that they did go back to some of those old ones because I feel like, you know, and Frozen, I don't remember hearing Frozen 2 songs. I don't remember hearing Frozen 1 songs in Frozen 2, so it was interesting that they did that. But I think they knew they had some good stuff in Frozen 2, so they were like, no, we don't have room for throwbacks in this one. So anyway, that's the music part of it. Again, I think animation wise, next level. I think the music wise, I feel like that fell pretty short. The song on the boat, again, what could be better than this? Seemed like it was not important. But in the story, once they're on the boat and she's put together a crew and they're out to sea and they're following the fire in the sky and all of that stuff, and before they found Maui, the Kakamura show up.
Yes.
I
Great
feel
character
like,
in the first film.
yeah, I was going to say, I feel like that they probably were like, what did people really like about the first movie? Oh, they loved the Kakamura. And it's like, well, you thought you loved it in the first movie. We are going to triple down on the Kakamura. And it's like, they got the one Kakamura dude who's like, you know, like little, like the super soldier. And then they kind of delve into their story. They explain through like coconut sign language, making signs so much like Finding Nemo, where the fish shape into the opera house, where they explain to him or explain to Moni, this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to get back to that island so that we can raise it with you, so that we can get back to our people. But I do think very much like a Star Wars movie, where I think that when they went to do Phantom Menace, they were like, what did people like about the originals? Lightsabers for everybody. Let's go. I think they did that here, and they went Kakamura. People love that Kakamura Dole Whip. They're gonna love it when we like triple down on the amount of Kakamura that are in here.
Well, the coconut milk is off, Rob. It was actually one of my favorite parts of the film. So I'm going to disagree with you here. The Kakamura came back again, and I think they saved the moment of that part of the movie where, you know, the energy had kind of died off. They just done that terrible song that you talked about, and they were about to, you know, begin this journey and adventure. And when they think, you know, oh, it's we've landed, we found it, and they find the Kakamura. That was like, I perked up. I was looking at my phone doing something else, and I stopped just to watch this because they are still, and they were in the first movie, my favorite characters. And when they tell a little story and they come back, and they actually wind up becoming a big part of the film throughout the rest of the journey, I thought that was great. So, I mean, I get what you're saying that, oh, they brought it back because it was so popular, but I mean, I'm glad they did. I really am.
One of the things that I didn't say I didn't like it. I just said they tripled down on it. But I
Okay.
don't disagree with you that it did perk things up. Um, but yeah, it's one of those things where they're like, what do we got? What do we gotta do in this movie? Um, but again, I think people do love them, so I agree with that. Um, then this thing happened. Like
Oh, right.
what?
The
What?
booger,
So
the
it's so
giant
weird.
booger.
And it's at this point where I think to myself, I forget that there's a supernatural element to this. It's like her talking to the ocean, okay. Her grandmother coming back and like touching heads with her and turning into a manta ray and all that kind of stuff, okay. But for then I even like take a pass on the fact that they're little walking coconuts. But then I see something like this and I'm like, well, now you've gone. It's a bridge too far. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He excretes like he spits out toxins and he excretes the cure.
I think
And he
there's a line in
looks
the movie, something like "dangerous from both ends," or "winning
yeah,
from both
exactly.
ends."
I feel like
Uh,
somebody lost a bet and they said if if my team wins the basketball game, you're going to have to put this character somehow into your movie. And they lost a bet, and we're just like, oh god, okay, I guess we're doing this. But again, these guys, like the little warrior dudes, like that guy, he's tough. I like him. Um, so
you did
anyway,
not like the booger, though. I'm guessing that's what
just
I'm getting.
so freaking random, man. I don't know. Again, yeah.
But
The
when he
other thing,
runs over, when he runs over the crew and just covers them in slime, it's just it's a gross moment. It's a kid's moment. It's a
yeah,
4-year-old watching Disney moment where you're just like, "This is great." It
it's
spoke to
shiny
me. I
hiney.
don't know.
It's shiny hiney.
It's shiny
Yeah.
honey.
I will say there was a little bit of a frustrating, and I'm sure they saw this as a slapstick funny moment. But the part where she's like, "So I just have to poke this thing with a spear," and then like she loses the spear, and then like the best friend is like, "Oh, I've got another one," and then I've got another one, and it's like, "Okay, now I'm out." And so the whole reason you just went in here and you threw all of these sticks that are basically the thing to save you. You just threw them all down here, and then the one guy, the one Kakamura goes, "Ugh, you know what? Here, done." I don't know. It just seemed it was frustrating to me. It was just like, why do you have so many people on that boat and no one knows what they're doing? And the farmer, what did he do? I don't know.
Bringing the farmer was an interesting choice. We talked about this earlier. There's too many crew. The farmer was, again, there was really no point for the farmer. He literally brought plants on board and he throws them off the ship at one point. So there's actually no reason for the farmer to be there. But was Nicole Scherzinger the friend? Was that Cena? Is that her character?
Hmm.
So she had great moments, I think, and I would have loved to Lord her character development a little bit more. It's weird that she had an Australian accent or a New Zealand accent, but at the same time, there were moments where I thought you really could have expanded on that because she could have been really helpful to Moana with her engineering skills and with her science brain. And I was hoping that we'd see more from her. And then I don't know, at that moment where she carries not one but two but three spears, and then a fourth is madness,
I
was
mean, the
was
joke is
total
kind of
slapstick.
funny, but again, not enough that I would have thought there was the payoff. But I
No,
did wonder that as well as I feel like that was, again, to represent, the Pacific Island. I feel like that was probably New Zealand, but yeah, it did kind of sound a little Australian. But I mean, again, I've been to both, so I know that New Zealand has the accent as well. Versus like say The Rock and his accent. But I mean, people dragged Denzel Washington in Gladiator 2. So what are you going to do about accent choices or Gal Gadot as? Never mind. Um, so, again, they get swallowed up by the giant clam. All right. Um, and have to say goodbye to their warrior friend who decides to cut the ship loose so that they can fall in and don't bring the whole Kakamura ship down. Um, and then we see, come on. Anyway, So, so they get pulled to the bottom of this clam that they've done what they wanted to do, and they've kind of put it to sleep or put it given the toxins or whatever, and all kinds of gross things happen inside of this clam that spits out things this way and that way, and they finally meet up again with Maui, but luckily they've actually met our antagonist. I guess she is. She's in a weird situation because she's not necessarily. It's Mateni. She's not necessarily the bad guy. She works for the bad guy, kind of like the Silver Surfer works for Galactus, I guess. And so she has a conversation with Moana that we think she's going to like do something bad, but in essence what she does is she gives her advice that then actually comes back and helps her in the end, which makes sense. Like that piece tied together for me. Like they lay that groundwork and then it pays off later. I don't think that all of it did, but I think in that particular case it did. And then
It
she gets to
confused
sing
me.
a villain song.
She did. I thought she was a villain, because she's clearly a villain to Maui as
Yeah.
she's holding him captive.
Yeah.
And so when she starts to speak to Moana, I'm getting Ursula vibes, and I'm like, oh, she's totally trying to trick her, when she says get lost. And I actually thought she meant get lost, as in beat it, as in go away. And so I was like, no, Moana, don't. In my head, my monologue, right? I'm like, don't listen to the villain. She's giving you bad advice, which of course then winds up being really good advice very quickly. And I'm like, oh, so not Ursula, not a bad person, which didn't quite register for me as quickly as for you, I guess.
Do you know what the name of the song was?
Get lost.
That's
I
right.
don't,
That is
I don't
correct.
know.
I
Is
figured
that
you
it?
I figured you would get
Hey!
there.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Wait, I got it. I have a bell. Here we go. He gets 1 point.
There you go. You know what, my friend? While we're here, again, thank you guys for joining with us. We love that you guys have come to the new channel, that you are sharing your time with us on a
Yeah.
Wednesday night. We love talking about movies, and so a look on the plus side is our new way to do that every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. We hope you'll come back for more. We're going to tell you at the end like what else is coming up, and that we have a new show also coming up on Sunday night that I think people will be excited about. So before we get into that, also if you haven't subscribed, tell your friends, tell your neighbors. We need to get to 1,000, and then we also need to get to 4,000 watch hours. So leave it on for your dog while while you're at work. I mean, we're gonna ask for everything here. That's the way this goes. But my friend, you know how this works. Whenever we do one of these, I always like to ask you some trivia questions. And Rosita, who
Oh
is in the
man,
chat, and she is one of our pack members, she wants it. She needs to have the trivia, so we gotta ask the trivia. It's not just
I'm so
me.
bad at
The
this.
people, the people have asked for the trivia, and maybe maybe some of it's going to be easier for you. I mean, if this is your first watch through, you were watching it to take in the story, to take in the magic, to absorb the whole thing. So let's see how much you absorbed. The first question is the Moana bees, the little girls, the Moana bees
Ah,
have decided that they have their own pua. What is their pua's name?
oh, I took a note of it. I don't remember. I don't remember. It was like, was it? It was like another version of Pua. No, I'm gonna get this one wrong. Get this one wrong. Anyone in the chat want to help me? No, no.
Maybe,
Okay,
I don't know.
thanks.
They're
Yeah.
a little bit delayed. We can let that rest. Although
All
Jay
right.
said dogs love Rob, scientifically proven. So yeah. Oh, Rosita
The
said
chat is a whole
Samson.
different
That
show.
Samson is the if you're talking about he's the horse of Prince Philip, but that's not the answer here. So their pua is called bua.
Knew it was some variation. Yeah. Boy, that's good writing, Rob. Right there.
That's solid. That's solid.
Bua.
That was a meeting. That was a meeting.
Big Pua. He's big Pua. Pua.
Bua. Yeah. Yeah. It was a meeting.
Wow.
Yeah. That's a boat snack upgrade if I've ever seen one. Yeah. A little bit easier. A little bit easier. When she is underground and in the big thing, the big shell, and I'm trying to find her name again. Matini says to
Hmm.
her, "There's another way," and she clears the floor, and there is a way to get through and out of the shell. What is the name of that thing that she goes through? It's got a big face
Is
on
it a
it.
portal?
It
Yeah,
is
yeah. It's a
portal
portal.
of
A portal of doom.
portal of the
It's
gods. Portal of the
portal of the.
gods. Because then Moni says in the next scene, "I
She
can't believe
opens.
we're in
Yeah,
the portal of the gods," and so they said it like three
yeah.
times in a row, and I was like, "Well, he'll get that." Maybe a
Oh,
little
of course
easier.
he won't.
Moana has her oar from the first movie, and it has two things
Yes.
on it before she actually gets it
Uh-huh.
enchanted. She has two things on it. What are the two things that are scratched on the face of the oar? Two things. Name one.
She has the stars. She has stars. Does she have stars?
No,
And the mountain. She has the island.
no,
Neither one of those are right.
no.
Not even half right. Do I get a
Did you,
partial credit?
what do you want, a Chihu? Is that what you want? You want a
Can I get a
Chihu for
cheer?
not getting
Can
it
I-
right? Dude, that's worth the price of admission right there. Thank you so much. I appreciate oof. It's so good. It's so good.
I'm still at work. People are going to come in. They're going to think I have treats or something. They're going to think something could happen.
I think you have treats. Because that's usually what it means. When you hear Chihu, there's going to be candy.
Someone has snacks.
Someone, boat snack upgrade. All right. All right.
Oh, we get to watch it. Okay. What do we got?
So it's right there. It's the heart and it's the hook.
And the hook. Maui's hook. Maui's
Yeah.
hook. Yeah.
It's the heart and the hook. Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah,
there's that.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry, but I mean, you got no, you didn't get that. You kind of got Portal of the Gods. We're gonna kind of go with that one. I'm almost
I
done,
got
my
half.
friend.
Okay.
Um,
At one point. Hey,
in
I'm
this,
consistent. I'm consistently bad at trivia. So lots of fun. Bring me on the show to fail at easy trivia on a movie I watched less than 24 hours ago.
yes, yes. Okay, yeah. We're working on it. We're working on something you'll really like then, and I'll clue you in on it. We'll make sure that we loop you in on a new show we're gonna be doing. But
Okay.
stick around for that one. How old does Maui say he is?
Oh, he does say how old he's hundreds of years old. I think he says 311.
I feel like you're thinking of Yoda. It's 3,000 years old.
Okay, I was three something.
Yeah. I
Give
made.
myself credit.
This is the final one. This is the final one, and this one you could get because I think there are a couple different options. But they make some modern references in this one, and it reminds me in the way of Robin Williams as the genie in Aladdin, with referencing things that at the time were very timely and now seem very old, like Jack Nicholson impressions and things like that. But they make some modern references, and I took note of 4 modern references. Can you name any modern references that were made in the dialogue?
Well, he does. I don't know if it's a modern reference, but he does call her a princess. She says, "I'm not a princess," and he says, "Well, a lot of people think you are," which I
Yes,
think is a direct call to fans of the movie who refer to
definitely.
her as one of the Disney princesses. So I don't know if that's a
Definitely
modern thing, but
not
I'm
at all.
gonna
Not at all.
do that one.
That was definitely
Okay.
something I was going to bring up to you, though, and I do think we need to talk about briefly. But these are the ones that I listed. Besties. Besties comes up. Moni uses it, and Maui uses it in his hit song Chihu. So that's one.
Okay.
Moni says totally, which maybe not too
Huh?
too modern. Maui says butt dial, and he says you'll get that in 2,000 years.
That's the one that I would have said, yeah, because I do remember him saying that. Because
Yeah.
she goes, "What?" and he goes, "You'll get that in a couple
Yeah.
thousand years."
And I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure that this is, not, and so that would say that the timeline of this movie is 2,000 years ago. But I'm pretty sure that purple nurples were not a thing back then either. So I feel like that kind of counts as like a modern thing because I don't think they had purple nurples. But his tattoo gives him a purple nurple.
Yes,
I don't know, man.
it's
All right,
true.
well. Well, I appreciate you at least playing along with that one. You gave me some fun fact that I didn't know about Chihu, so I feel like we're even. I feel like we're good.
Okay.
Yeah. Rosita said butt dial, so we'll give her that one. That'll
She
be
gets a
great.
bell.
She, you want to go ahead and hit it one more time?
That's for
There we go.
Rosita.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So we get to the climax of this film where we've already sang the Chihu. They've already tried to beat Nalo. He's not having it. There's this weird place in the middle of the ocean that we know the island has been sunken into, and they have to get the island up to save humanity, I guess, at this point. And so they get up this plan that they're going to have Maui pull it up while they distract Nalo, and it doesn't really work. And Maui loses all of his tattoos, which I guess, as like, the clothes maketh the man. I guess tattoos maketh the demigod is what we're supposed to understand here. Is that lore to your knowledge, that if you have tattoos?
Well, I do know there's a connection between the tattoos and mana and ancestry. So the tattoos, there's a definite link between the tattoo and their cultural history. And so I know that him losing the tattoos was significant. Plus, he looked really funny without tattoos, didn't he? The way they animated him, he looked like a large baby with no tattoos on. But it was clearly a thing, and because he loses his power, right? When the
Right.
tattoos are gone, he just becomes human at that point.
Yeah, you're
Are you
welcome.
queuing it up?
I am. I am, because when you
Yeah,
said he looked like a big baby, I'm like, well, we gotta get in on this. Um,
yeah.
so yeah, so here's
There he is. Yeah,
yeah, he definitely has this weird look about him that he doesn't look as Maui-ish, and I guess that's the takeaway. Don't mess with Maui when he's on a
yeah,
breakaway. But again,
yeah.
I
Fire
still want
chief
to.
actually, and Ronald pointed out in the chat. It's tattoos big part of Polynesian culture,
Yep.
and Pacific Islanders as well, and of course, just like Samson losing his hair, you lose your power when you lose your tattoos. So that made sense to me.
Well, and cinematically, though, this scene, they've done such a great job of painting this whole area very dark and dreary, but the water and her climbing on the boat and the textures and the panic and the audio is augmented in a weird way, and it's just like, it's so good. Like, it's so good. I think
Yeah.
that this would probably have been lost, on your small TV, but I think that, I mean, not that, I'm sure you have a great widescreen television. I just mean versus seeing it
I
in the
heard
theater.
that.
Yeah.
The sound spoke to me a few times. I was really impressed. Not a lot of movies will exaggerate the surround sound, unless it's something like this. But there were a couple times in the movie early on where she's spoken to about taking the journey and finding other people. There's this real amphitheater surround, like it's exaggerated. It comes from the left and the right and the front and the back. It would have been cool to see in a movie theater, but it was actually not bad at home on the sound bar. So I was actually really, really happy with that. Cool stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and it definitely, again, we're dealing with water that in the past, and I know in movies they've said that the water was hard to animate. Like, just, this gives you, like, there's a feeling of like, she's got to make it. She's got to make it. Like, you get engaged at this point. You're like, she's almost there. She's going to make it. And she touches the island, and the human touching the island is the loophole that she has learned, from the villain. And then
Break
it
the
breaks the
curse. Yeah.
curse. But again, the curse being broken and the difference in lighting. Lighting is everything, and I can't imagine how much time and effort they spent on the animation part of just trying to show how, like, the curse breaks, and just the light, and just, it's so massive. I mean, and then we're back in
Yeah.
that beautiful sky you were talking about earlier. So well done animation wise. And then of course here's baby Maui without his tattoos on. But then, so she goes down to the bottom of the sea, and I don't know that I picked up on this when I watched it the first time, that basically she dies and her ancestors bring her back as a demigod. I don't know that I picked up that she was coming back as a demigod because I don't know why. I thought, I guess there was definitely something, again, to the point I was talking about earlier about mystical and the things like the Kakamura and the things I didn't really mind in the first one, but then seeing the big slug guy and the clam thing, spitting things, I was like, the bridge too far.
Yeah.
But
I think,
now that she's back here and she's broken the curse, the ocean can help, and the ocean encapsulates her in this little bubble so that she and Maui
yeah.
can breathe, but she's dead and she needs her ancestors to bring her back. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, I think knowing a little bit about tattoos and the Polynesian culture would help here because it triggered for me instantly that she was a demigod because she got tattoos on one of her arms. Her paddle then became augmented like Maui's hook.
Hook, yeah.
And so immediately I saw the connection. I was like, oh, she has powers now too, like Maui. And so I don't know, that connection worked for me because I was thinking it subconsciously, I think. But it was cool at that moment because I didn't know how they were going to bring her back. It's like she was clearly dead or suffocating on water, so I didn't know if the water was going to pull water out of her or if Maui was going to do mouth to mouth, which I thought would have been weird to animate. And so I was like, oh, what are they going to do here? But the way they did it, I thought was really cool. I did fully engage at this point of the movie. I put down my phone and rewound it to make sure I saw all of this. It was really, really great.
Yeah. If tattoos were this easy to get, I think I'd get some. But it looks like it's going to
I
hurt.
have none too.
Yeah.
I too have no tattoos. Not one, no.
No wonder you're
Yeah.
not a demigod. Well, yet.
Yet.
Yeah. So there's, yeah. So she's now got this tattoo, which like kind of glows, sort of like the gauntlet from Iron Man, and I mean, it's or I guess Thanos. And then he gets his tattoos back and he gets his hook back, and then her tattoos become like permanent. And I guess just like when you get a regular tattoo and it's red for a while and then it goes regular, this is like it glows for a little bit and then it goes regular. And then she gets her oar, which has the new patterns on it. And so I guess she's got some new powers that we'll learn about in the third movie when that happens. But, yeah, so definitely these are the patterns you were talking about on the oar that were not there clearly the first time. So
I don't have the blue swirl that everybody is putting in the chat, so I'm just going to drop some kamaboko. Oh, these are the little fish cakes that go in ramen. So until somebody teaches me how to do the blue swirl, I'm just going to keep dropping fish cake.
Fire Chief said you'd have to die to get them that way. True. That is true, and
true story. Yeah,
that's not. We're not
yeah.
here.
That's a high cost of admission.
Yeah, exactly. So Maui shows up dramatically back at Matanui, and no one's happy to see him. A demigod has landed, and they're like, "You got sand in my coconuts," and all that. We also see the Moana bees again. And the Moana bees are actually his daughters. I don't know if you knew that or not.
No.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
How would I have known that? The actors, the girls who play.
Not Maui's, not Maui's. Yeah, not Maui's, but they're the Rocks. So there's Bua, and then there's the Moana bees, and his daughters' names are Tiana and Jasmine. Mm-hmm. No lie. So he is definitely all bought in, and if there's another kid coming along, there's no way if it's a girl it's not Moana. So they're in it. They get to voice those Moana bee characters, and he goes and meets the little sister who grabs him by the ear as she was promised to do, and then sees her little sis, big sis situation happening, and then the ocean parts. They have a happy time, and then they hit the old school music from the first movie, and they all live happily ever after, and they bring all of the new tribes to their island. And the first thing they do when they get him there is that they make him drink that swill. So they drink the mop
I'm going to
water.
guess it's kava. It's supposed to be kava or something like that, kombucha or something. But yeah, it does. It looks like mop water.
Yep. And anyway, so So
Fun.
we have a movie, and we have the boat snack and the boat snack upgrade. Which again, this isn't where it was in the trailer. In the trailer, it's Pua, and he's like, "Why didn't you bring the pig last time?" And he's like, "Boat snack upgrade." There, so there, a little bit of changes happened between the trailer and the final thought, but again, very very cinematic, and we return to the island with the Kakamura and everything is happy. And then but then in the mid credits at the end we get that sad idea that the villains are going to gang up and come back strong for Moana 3 whenever that happens. So that's the movie. I will say though that one thing is that I like to talk about sometimes is like what effects have this had in the park. The only thing that's really happened in the park, I feel like, is that they've changed the meet and greet from Moana from what she used to wear to this outfit now. So when you go and you meet her now in the parks, now she's wearing what you would see in Moana 2. I think they did the same thing with Frozen with those characters when Frozen 2 came out. So interesting to see what they do in Frozen 3. In Frozen 3, and then also with Moana 3. So then the question came up to me in my head, like, good Lord, like, sequels. So we have Moana 2, now we're going to have Zootopia 2 in November, and then we're going to have another year. We don't know what's happening in November of 2026, and then in November of 2027, Frozen 3. So a lot of sequels, and I'm like, man, Disney only does sequels. And then I stop and thought, what happened before this was Raya, Strange Worlds, Encanto, Wish. So I mean, this was kind of the beginning of a phase of sequels, and not like a pattern that they've had in the past. And maybe whatever they come up in 2026 won't be a sequel. But I think they've gotten to a point where they go, what's going to make the money? What are people going to buy into? And clearly, Moana 2 made them $1 billion at the box office.
Yeah,
How do
and
you
I'd
feel about
rather
that?
see another. I'd rather see another Moana animated movie than a live action. Like I'm not a fan of the live action,
It's
and
coming.
I don't know. I haven't participated much in the chat about live action, but I know that it's mixed. I know that some of the fans of the show here are mixed on the live action stuff. Personally, I just wish they would just stick to the animation. But it is coming. I mean, it's coming, and I'm sure it'll be great. But it's just not for me.
July 10th, 2026. Mark your calendars. It's going to be $50 a ticket by the time that comes around, I think, in your neck of the woods.
It probably will.
Yeah, produced by Seven
No
Bucks Productions, which is
cheers.
Dwayne's production company. It's in post-production. It's already been filmed. It's already going to happen. There is no stopping that train. And it actually comes out 1.5 weeks before Toy Story 5.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So again, I mean, I can't really hate on them for doing sequels when they've given us a lot of original stories before this. Raya and the Last Dragon, Strange Worlds, like I talked about, Wish, Encanto. So there's been a lot of original stories in a row, but it does look like we're headed into a lot of sequels. So anyway, there's that. So before we get to wrap up and we get your final thoughts, and before I move on, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about with this movie that I didn't talk about?
Try to think. I really, there were a few moments in the film that I thought were great. I thought the end credit surprise Tamatoa scene was really fun, and I wish they had more of him in the movie. I thought they could have done more with the introduction of the new characters, the people from the other islands. They didn't even speak, so we don't know exactly what was going to happen there. And
Well,
so
not for the
there were
third
there were
one.
moments. Right. There are moments where I thought, there's really some great stuff here. Nothing new to add, except that I absolutely think the animation in this film is one of my favorite so far from Disney,
Interesting.
post the hand-drawn stuff. All the computer stuff they've done, this is my favorite of the computer animation.
Gotcha.
I really
Okay.
thought they did a great job with that.
All right. Well, hold that thought because I do want to thank everybody again for coming and watching. This is, again, the Park Adventurers Club is the name of this channel. And so if you like our show, which is a look on the plus side, we have some more stuff coming up. So this week we did Moana 2. Next week, Shannon, our good friend Shannon's coming back to do Ratatouille, or as Rat Movie as I keep calling it. And then on April 23rd, our friend Ron Deanna, as promised before, and because Dawn requested it, Pinocchio, the original Pinocchio movie, is celebrating, I think it's 70 years, and so he'll be on here to talk about that one. Very excited about that. Hopefully in the not too distant future we'll have Maleko back. I feel like you and I kind of brushed on the idea of Tombstone because of the late Val Kilmer maybe being something that we have you back to talk about, which I mean, I'm your Huckleberry. Let's do it. So
I'm
again,
into it.
The name of the channel is Park Adventurers Club. You can check us out at parkadventurersclub.com. We also have a Patreon. So if you go to patreon.com/GoPack, GOPAC, you can become a member of the PAC, the PAC, the Park Adventurers Club. We would love to have you on. You can be in our Discord. We're going to have some stuff for some of the higher tiers. Have a cool sticker and a cool button.
I want one of those.
I know.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, let's see. But again, check it out on patreon.com/GoPack. We would love to have your support. We're very close to being able to monetize the channel, so we're excited about that. And again, leave it on for the dogs. Help us get those hours, or tell your friends, let's get those last subs. But either way, I can't thank you guys enough for your support about all the people who've reached out on Twitter, on X, and through Instagram and all these other places and said, hey, we want to do, we loved what you guys did over there. We want to see what you're going to do over here. Deep in the Plus was the show that Maleko and I did that is now a look on the plus side. We had a show that we did on Sunday nights about parks. We are starting that again. Something a little different this Sunday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. It is the Park Adventurers Club, and the first session of the Park Adventurers Club will be the question, does Walt Disney World need a fifth gate with the eve of Epic Universe opening up? We're going to be talking about that, so we hope you'll join us. Tell a friend, tell your neighbors, tell your kids, tell your dogs. Apparently they love hearing my voice. Bring them on, 8:30 this Sunday night. We're going to have our first official meeting of the Park Adventurers Club, and we'd love for you guys to come and hang out with us. One last thing about our Patreon, I want to give a big thanks to our early adopters in the Patreon, Jordan, Jungle Cruiser, Real Life Evie, and William K. And we will throw, I know Billy Batson and Rosita have joined today. So, man, thank you guys so much for your support. It's all going to make these shows better and to get us up and running. So thank you guys so much. Sorry about that rant, but now is the time, my friend. This is why you come here, is you watch this movie, you agonize through it, even through your cell phone, just so that you could reach out to the folks here today and you could say, hey, do I recommend it? Do I not? That's the big question. So, my friend, would you recommend this movie?
Okay. With everything we've talked about today, storyline issues and some of the songs aside, I think that this marks a major shift in the animation quality of Disney films. I think something happened. They did some major software upgrade, or they're using a new technology or a new tool, but something has changed in the way Disney animates film. And much like the shift from hand-drawn animation to computer graphics, I think that we've entered a different phase. And for that reason, plus there's a couple of really cool songs, I think, in the film that we didn't get a chance to talk about. I would absolutely recommend this movie for any Disney fan. If you loved Moana, the first movie, you're going to like this movie. There's a lot of throwbacks to the first movie that make it worthwhile. And so I hope that you'll watch it and spend some time to enjoy it on a big screen on your home as opposed to on your phone, or at least put on some really good headphones, because the sound is great as well. So yes, 100% recommend Moana to any Disney fan.
You know what? Here's the thing that's weird is I would also recommend it, but I would be alone in my family. I feel like my wife and my kids came back a little bit angry about this one, and I think part of that, as we talked about, was the music. I think that this adds to the. If you are a Moana fan, you're gonna have already seen this, but like if you just casually saw Moana, I think that you would enjoy it. I don't think the story is bad. I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot going on, and you really got to pay attention to it. But I'm hoping this sets the scene for a third in a trilogy that all makes sense together. I don't think that the music was that great. It didn't walk out with any bangers in my head that I couldn't stop singing. But I mean, I would love to hear from you guys. Leave comments below. Like the video. Again, tell a friend. Anything we can do to get some engagement, and let us know what you think not only about this movie but what other things you would love to see us bring to the channel. The sky's the limit, my friends. We have so many ideas ready and waiting, and we will be bringing them to you very soon, very quickly. But again, a big huge thank you to you, sir, for taking time out of your day. I know you had to move your car. There was a whole thing that happened. But man, having you come with your positivity and your ideas and just your slant on things, and you and I have been friends for a while, and I can't tell you how much it means to me, sir, that you come on and you talk with us, and the fans love it, and they're gonna teach you that swirl. Somebody's gonna.
That's it. I'm not coming back until someone teaches me the swirl. Thank you so much. So much fun. Rob, congratulations on the new channel. This show is going to be great. I can tell. You've already got a great fan base, and I'm looking forward to watching many more in the days to come. And I'm excited about the new the park show or Park Center coming back, because that's one of my favorites as well.
Well, good. It's the Park Adventurers Club. We got to be clear about that, and we're going to be talking about a lot of cool stuff. So I hopefully everybody will join us, and it'll be as good and fun a time as it always is, hanging out, just talking about Disney stuff, having a good time. So again, my friend, thank you so much. We'll see you guys next time.